All right, let's talk about Elixir. When you're learning a programming language, you start with the basics, right? And in Elixir, one of the most fundamental building blocks is the list. But here's the thing, don't let that simplicity fool you. The way Elixir thinks about a simple list, well, it tells you everything you need to know about its entire philosophy. So, let's pull back the curtain and see what's really going on under the hood.
So let me ask you this. What actually makes a list a list? Now, you're probably thinking of it as a simple container, like a box you can just throw things into. And hey, that's a totally normal way to think about it. But Elixir has a much more elegant and, frankly, a much more powerful idea in mind.
And this is the key right here. In Elixir, a list isn't just a box, it's what we call a linked list. The best way to picture it is like a chain. Every single link in that chain holds its own value, sure, but it's also physically connected to the next link. So it's not just a random collection of items, it's a sequence where each piece knows about all the pieces that come after it. This brings us to probably the single most important concept for understanding Elixir lists, this head/tail pattern. It's super simple. The head is just the very first item in the list. Easy enough. But the tail? Now this is crucial. It's not the last item, it's the entire rest of the list. Think about that for a second. Any list, no matter how big or small, can be broken down into just these two parts, its first item and everything else.
Okay, with that foundation in place, let's start building a little toolbox for ourselves. We're going to use it to manage a list of programming languages. So first things first, how do we even create a list from scratch and start adding things to it?
Every good project needs a starting point, right? For us, that's this new/0 function. Now that /0 you see, that's just Elixir's way of telling us that this function takes, well, 0 arguments. You just call it and bam, it hands you a perfect blank canvas, a brand new, totally empty list. All right, time to add our next tool to the box, add /2, and yeah, you can probably guess what that /2 means now. It takes 2 arguments. In this case, it's the list we're working on and the item we want to add. So we feed it our empty list and the string closure, and what comes out? A new list with our very first language inside. Simple. But watch closely what happens when we add a second language, Haskell. Whoa, did you see that? It didn't get tacked on to the end. It was placed right at the front. This is a really big deal. It's called prepending, and it's our first major clue about why that head/tail structure is so important. Adding a new link to the front of the chain is incredibly fast and efficient in Elixir. Okay, so we can build a list. That's awesome. The next logical step is actually interacting with it, right? How do we look at what's inside, or maybe even remove something? Let's add a couple more essential tools to our box. So here we've got 2 new tools that look kind of similar, but they do very different things. Over on the left, our first one function it just peeks at the list. It takes our list as its one argument, and it tells us, hey, the head is Haskell, but the original list is totally untouched. Now on the right, remove one is different. It actually gives you back a brand new list, but without the head. So it's kind of like peeking versus popping. One just looks, the other creates something new. A good toolbox doesn't just let you build and take things apart. It also has to let you measure and inspect your work. So how can we ask our list some questions to get information about itself? Let's start with a really simple question. Exactly how many items are in our list? For that, we're going to pull out our count1 function. It's basically our measuring tape. We just give it one argument, our list, and it's going to tell us exactly how many things are inside. And the answer is 2. Simple, clean, direct. The count function did its job perfectly. A nice, straightforward tool for a straightforward question.
Okay, but counting is just one kind of question we can ask. What if we want to search for something really specific? Like, how could we check if the language Elixir is actually in our list of functional programming languages?
We could actually build our own little custom tool for that. We could call it something like functional list ? And the logic would be dead simple, right? Step 1, scan through the list and see if you can find the word Elixir. Step 2, if you find it, return true. If you get to the end and you haven't found it, just return false. A perfect little tool for checking if something's a member of the club. So, we've built a few simple tools, we've seen how they work, but why are they designed this way? This brings us all the way back to the big picture, Elixir's whole philosophy of functional programming. So let's put it all together. What are the big takeaways here? Number 1,
Elixir lists are linked lists. They're chains. Number 2, this means they're always built from a head and a tail. Number 3, because of that structure, adding to the front, prepending, is the absolute fastest, most efficient thing you can do. And that one simple idea, it's a true cornerstone of the entire functional programming world.
And that's really the secret sauce, isn't it? This head-first approach. Elixir lists aren't trying to be a jack of all trades. By focusing on this one simple pattern, they become incredibly predictable, they're reliable, and honestly, they are way more powerful than you'd expect.
Which leaves us with one final nagging question to think about. We know that working with the head of the list, the front of the chain, is super fast and easy. But what about the other end? If a list is just a chain where each link only points forward, what do you think it really takes to find the very last item? Something to chew on.